Get ready to get ready.
Coming to you live from the MFG studios
In the heart of America's summer golf capital. We help you play better golf. It's time to get your game on.
and take it deep.
This is the Mike Fay Golf Show.
Here's your host, Mike Fay.
Well, hello everyone, here from America's Summer Golf Capital. My name is Mike Fay. I'm the Director of Player Performance here at the Boyne Golf Academy here in Northern Michigan. And tonight we've got a whole host of highly awarded golf professionals and you. And we wanted to create golf's most interactive online show. So we're really excited that you guys are here to join us tonight. So let's go ahead and introduce you to the crew. First up here, down in St. Clair, Michigan, he is a master PGA professional and a PGA rules official for Mike Fay Golf, and in the state of Michigan, Mr. Frank Guastella. How you doing, Frank, today?
I'm doing wonderful today, Mike. How you guys doing today?
Well, we're doing good. It's mighty cold up here as well as your place as well. I just can't wait for us to be able to get outside and do some stuff. How about you, Frank?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
It's too cold for me. I want to be in that warm climate with Brent.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, next up from Australia, Mr. Brent Davis. How are you, my friend?
Great, thank you, Mike. Good to be here again in the nice warmth of Melbourne.
Yes, in charge of the education program down at the PGA of Australia down there.
Keeping busy and hiding out in one of the meeting rooms today to be on the cast today.
Yes, we heard it's very, very hot down there. I don't know how you're surviving, my friend.
It isn't so bad today, only 20 odd degrees today. Just a nice day for golf.
Okay, very cool. And finally, last but not least, there he is. This gentleman is the PGA of Canada Teacher of the Year and Professional Development for Canada. For the entire country, both awards. Pretty honored to have Mr. Jason Helman with us from Toronto. How are you, Jay?
I'm great, Mike. Just finished an awesome day of coaching, and happy to join the show every Sunday night at 9 p.m.
Yes, it's pretty cool. We've got all these gentlemen all together and you to talk about golf and having some fun. So why don't we go ahead and get into the lineups? What do you think, gents?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, tonight's lineup is sponsored by Tifosi Optics. Tifosi has a brand new line called the Enliven sunglasses, and they are pretty cool. Both myself and Mr. Helman are sponsored athletes. Check out Tifosi optics.com for all that information. So tonight we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. We, of course, if you have watched the show in the past or not, we have a regular series called Helman's Hot 5. Anything that Jay wants to talk about, we will talk about, which gets pretty dangerous. It will be fun for sure. Feature that you guys have seen before called Fix My Swing, where someone has sent us their golf swing, and we will take a look at it and try and give them help along with you. And we have another edition of MFG University, our preview to our membership platform, to the website MikeFayGolf.com. Talk a little Pebble Beach action, Victorian Open action, and then, of course, Frank has Playing by the Rules. If you guys have followed Frank and myself and all of our videos and the tons of articles that Frank has written on the rules of golf, we'll be updating you just about every week with the new rules and what's going on. And then a new feature tonight coming out called Are You Kidding Me? So that should be fun as well. So first up, let's get everybody into the act here, I think. And we'll go ahead and put everybody up on the screen here. You guys have to wait here one second. There we go. Perfect. And let's see if we can do any shout outs. If any of you are new to the show, if you could type in the word new, that would be fantastic. We're going to give you guys a shout out. We have been just doing this on Facebook now. We've opened it up to YouTube and Periscope tonight. Looks like things are running good, right, guys? Everything good?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see it up on Periscope as well, so it's all good.
Awesome. Very, very cool. So type in there new if you've never seen what we do. We've been doing this. It's a pretty new show for about a month. We did miss last week with the Super Bowl, which I'm still trying to awaken from. It was pretty tiring, wasn't it, to watch him win again, which is pretty awesome. Awesome for the Pats fans and everybody else. So pretty cool. He is amazing, Mr. Brady. And so first up, let's talk about New Year's resolutions. Are you keeping your New Year's resolutions? Are you getting out there and working on your golf game? Are you working on getting more fit? We want you guys to make comments about that. Let us know what's going on. What are you guys doing? How is the New Year's resolutions coming for each one of you?
They're all scared to jump in.
Well, mine are doing fine. I'm getting in the gym 5 days a week, like I had planned to. I'm feeling good. I'm working on my flexibility, my mobility, things of that nature. Just the things that are going to overall help make me a better athlete and make me a better golfer.
Getting in the gym, important.
Don't be like that, Frank. You're starting to make me look bad talking like that. Because I had the goal at the start of the year to follow our esteemed host and get a bit healthier and get a bit fitter, and it's not working particularly well. I think the 6 or 8 beers I had last night didn't help so much either.
I understand.
But it was. But it was hot down here. It was warm. I had to cool down.
Well, you had an excuse, Brent.
Yeah, that's it. So now you've got me fired up there, Frank. I'm going to make sure I get a bit fitter now. So you'll see my face slim down as the year goes on with our podcasts.
Well, that will be pretty cool. I know Mr. Helman's been riding the train here, getting healthy, eating good.
I've been in the gym and a couple of times a week. Maybe 2 to 3 times a week, as much as I can get in there. I am coaching 5 days a week still in the winter, so it does get in the way of some of the events. But I'm also working out with my athletic therapist and trying to get my hip mobility increased. It's pretty locked up in my upper thigh muscles are all locked, and I got a lot of lateral rotation versus actual rotation. So hoping to go from 9 degrees to 30 degrees soon.
Well, that'll be good because then you'll be able to play 700 more rounds of golf a year.
I know,
You beat me to it. Well, you beat me to it, Mike.
Hey, I'm thinking about coming down there in March again, Brent. So maybe we can play a game.
I will warn the courses to prepare for all the extra traffic.
Yes,
That's right.
we beat on Jay. Jay plays more golf than most golf pros do, but we have fun. No doubt about that.
Because I was on vacation and traveling a bit, but otherwise, I don't actually play that much golf in season, 20 times per year. So that's every men's night, pretty much, or every other men's night.
So, Frank, what do you do when you get off track? You set a goal, like a New Year's resolution, and you get off track. And I want to hear this from everyone out here watching as well. What do you do to get yourself going again?
Mike, I just try to refocus and figure out why I set the goal and why I happen to get off track a little bit. But typically, I usually, if I'm going to set a goal, I feel I have the discipline and the wherewithal to stick with it. I to be honest with you, don't usually fall off of my goals. I set them, I keep moving, and I just try to be extremely disciplined in everything that I do, whether it's, how I eat, how I exercise, if I were to work on my golf game a little bit more, how to practice more, things of that nature. But I just really try to focus on being disciplined and not giving up, not quitting. I've got a motto. It's look up, get up, don't ever give up. And that's how I try to live my life and set my goals by.
Yeah, I like that. There's no doubt that the people that you surround yourself with help you in those things too, right? I mean,
Definitely.
Someone that can support you and making sure that it's a priority that you get these things done. There's no doubt about that. Support from friends, family, things like that help you with if you want to go practice more, if you want to have more time for this, if you want to eat a little bit better, if you want to exercise, and just being able to carve out that time, because time is all you have, right? So you have to be able to set your time for certain things, and then that means you don't have time for other things, right? We only have a certain amount of time, and trying to stay in shape and work on your golf game or whatever goals you have in life. It's so important to do, right, guys?
Exactly.
Yeah, just on that quickly, just with the goal setting, I think it's important to have that long-term goal, but to set some smaller ones in between, so you are ticking off some goals as you go along. It's very easy to lose sight of that 12-month goal, that 6-month goal. So if you've got some smaller ones that you set every week, and you get to tick those off, that can certainly keep you heading towards that long-term goal.
Yeah, there's no doubt, Brent. Breaking it up into chunks definitely fits, and also being realistic about those chunks too, right? And understanding how, and knowledge and things like that of how these things go definitely helps you achieve more in the long run, because no one, our good friend Dr. Bell, right, Jay? No one gets there alone. Yeah. He wrote a great book. No one gets there alone. And
one thing I can add is I always put my goals down on whether it's a sticky note or somewhere where I can see them all the time if they're important goals or something that I'm trying to achieve that takes 12 months, whether it's award-based or, I don't know, something along those lines. I put them somewhere where I see them daily. And just over here over my shoulder you can sort of see the green and black books there. Those are student journals that I give out to all students for them to write in the books. So you should be able to refer back to something in your journal at the beginning of the year if you're making those goals you're setting.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Very, very cool. Well, if any of you guys out there have different ideas for us and for everyone watching about how you can help us achieve our goals and help others achieve their goals, let us know in the comments. It would be great to see those because any suggestions you can get, we can always help with that. Okay, next up on the list. It's very dangerous, isn't it, Mr. Davis? He's about to take the scene.
Yeah, I'm scared.
I am too. Scared. You never know what's going to happen. And here he is.
Front and center.
All right. Mr. Helman with Helman's Top 5.
All right.
All right. Let's get this thing switched around here. There we go.
First up in the top 5?
Yep.
We got Mike Liggett wins his first Web.com Tour event. He is Canadian. Played the PGA Tour of Canada for a long, long time. Is a student of a good friend of mine, Gareth Raflewski. And congrats to Mike for his first win out there. And hopefully secures enough money to make it to the PGA Tour at the end of this year.
Yeah, very, very cool.
We got Bentley clubs. I kind of made a joke about these earlier. You can't afford their car, and now you can't even afford their clubs either. So there's two things you can't afford for Bentley. Obviously, unless you're in the 1% market. But $16,000 clubs, yeah, they popped up on the Golf Digest list, and I was like, okay, there you go. There's another set someone can't afford.
Wow.
That's amazing, isn't it?
And it's not even close. Like Hanma is way up there. I've seen $75,000, $100,000 sets. And one of our friends, Kirk O'Gurry, commented on the post and said each iron is $5,400 per club. So so that was a fun little tidbit of information I tripped across this week.
Pocket change for Frank,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
worries. Yeah. Hey, buy 2 sets.
Yeah, right.
One for Florida and one for Michigan.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Okay, next one.
This just goes to a video. It's not a viral video, but I've seen it on a few platforms, Facebook and Twitter, and it's something that kind of, I guess it kind of makes me a little bit angry, but the health and well-being of juniors. I saw a violent swing, and it's someone's posted a swing of this junior. She's 10 years old, and they're working on speed, which is great. I think we all saw the video before. We didn't post it in the show here, but it's a bit out of control. It's very unstable, and I think there's a certain time to teach mechanics and technique accordingly. To just leave it alone, I think in this particular situation, it's a disservice to the athlete and the parents involved. And I think we really have to look out for the longevity of students, juniors, adults down the road when you're working with them. And really it's frustrating to hear otherwise when I read some of the comments and they think, oh yeah, let her swing her swing. Her hips are actually turned behind her. Now she's facing the golf ball. They actually are almost turned all the way around. It looks like it in this video, which is, I just can't fathom letting someone, go that far. And you really need to get the stability under control and the speed under control and the range of motion. So you might trip across that video somewhere in the Facebook world or the Twitter world. So if you happen to see it, I've been teaching for 26 years, and I think it's a complete disservice to not fix those certain things just because you're letting someone swing their swing. So it's a bit annoying to see that stuff. But hopefully, I don't know, she is going to be okay and that she won't have any injuries down the road. But I just think it's our job to protect our athletes just as much as it is to help them. So
absolutely,
that's my public service announcement for.
Very nice, very nice. The last of your top 5 we're going to cover here when we talk about Pebble Beach, I think.
Oh yeah,
I think it's time for Fix My Swing, don't you think, guys?
Yeah, I'm
all right. Let's see here.
Just quickly, guys, before you step up into that last spot, got a post on Periscope from Brian Jacobs Golf saying, agree, let's make sure that students are mobile and stable safely. Overspeed training needs to be safe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And thanks so much, Brian, for being on.
Thanks, Brian. He's obviously seen the video, so...
Okay. This gentleman, his name is Paul Malone from Alabama. And this is a fantastic golf swing, I think. I think what we're going to do is go in and point out some of the really good things that Paul does. He has a 5 handicap, and he's getting over having neck fusion. He's working on being more consistent and better compression. Good stuff, Paul. So let's check this out. Fix My Swing is powered by Coach Now, which is pretty exciting that we have them on board. Let's get into what we got going here. Who wants to take the wheel on this one first?
Go ahead and let him play there, and we'll have a good look at him. I've looked at it already a few times. I'm not playing this gentleman for any money, and he's not getting any strokes.
No, he's not. I noticed that.
There's lots of good things in this one.
Oh yeah, lots of good
Definitely.
Lots and lots of good things. We could see why he is a very good player. Let's talk about a couple of things that we think he does really good. One of the things is that he doesn't come out of his posture very much at all. What do you think, gents?
Yeah, very little. He keeps his angles very, very well.
Yes, he does. It's pretty awesome to see him.
I'm quite impressed with his rotation, both lower body and upper body. Do we, not that age is an issue, but do we understand or know his age, Mike?
He is an older gentleman, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got some great mobility, that's for sure. Arm plane matches the shoulder plane there. That's awesome. Head's fairly still.
Yep, so shoulder plane is, this is what Jay's talking about here, is the shoulder plane here, and his lead arm, his left arm match each other, which is something that we try to get you guys to do, come pretty close to, at least.
It's just a little bit easier to transition down.
Yep, and as he comes down here,
a little reroute there underneath, which is great.
Yep, so when he gets that golf club underneath that red line there, we know that his club path is moving on a really good place. When it gets on the other side, like over here on this side, this is not good. Any on this side is not good, and on this side is good right here. So we want to keep it on that underside there. A little bit, not too much though. Too much gets you in trouble too.
Yeah, it's all relative to what kind of shot he hits, but I mean, this kind of looks like he's hitting a little bit of a push draw.
Looked like he hit that a little bit on the toe there.
Yeah.
When he hit that. Now, the only thing that I would see, now we only have from Paul from down the line that he sent in. I wanted to talk about this. Is a little bit more rotation through the ball. So as he comes down here, we see that right around here, the golf club is pretty open as it comes in, and we don't see much of his left butt cheek at this point in the golf swing. So you can see that the club face is kind of pointing over here to the right, which is okay, but then not much happens after. So we can see that we'd like to see him kind of turn a little bit more, and we wouldn't get so handsy and through the shot. That's the only thing that I really saw that I think he really needs to work on. Other than that, looks absolutely fantastic. Really, really good stuff. Great setup, right?
Get his core speed and lower body speed to increase a little bit. There's your extra, few miles per hour and few extra yards to carry, right? So if we can get him to rotate faster, I don't know what his mobility is like. Obviously, we haven't screened him or anything like that, but it looks like he's pretty agile. So, check his hip joints out and do all that beforehand. And it looks like he rotates pretty good. I think if we can just get him to rotate a little quicker right at impact, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, right around from here to there, if he got a little bit more turning, then that golf club wouldn't flip up so soon. And they'd be pointing more towards the ground.
Get a little bit more left, get a little bit more pressure left, and increase some rotation. That'd be fantastic.
Yep. See a little bit more of this butt cheek coming out, and I think that would be pretty awesome. But thanks so much for
point. That was good, right?
Oh yeah. Thanks so much, Paul, for sending in your swing from Alabama. Looks like the weather down there is a little chilly as well, like this all over the country. There's no doubt that everyone is suffering this winter. Been pretty cold. All right, let's get some things switched up here. What is up next, Frank? MFG University?
Yeah, we can talk about the rules if you want, Mike. The clarification that came out this week on Rule 10.2b. I think if some of you saw on some of our various forums, there was some talk about a caddy standing closer on the line of a player, and the player was penalized for it. Well, this week the USGA and the RNA came out with a clarification of the rule, and I'd just like to read it to our audience. It's called meaning of begins to take a stance for a stroke. If a player backs away from a stance, the player is not considered to have begun a stance for the stroke. Therefore, a player can now back away from his or her stance anywhere on the course and avoid a breach of Rule 10.2b4 if the caddy has been standing in a location behind the ball. Now, an example of this is the USGA has given us an example of when a caddy is not deliberately standing behind the ball when a player begins taking his stance or stroke. As written, the rule does not apply if a caddy is not deliberately standing behind a player. It is clarified that the term deliberately requires a caddy to be aware that, one, the player is beginning to take a stance for the stroke to be played, and two, he or she, the caddy, is standing on or close to an extension of the line of play behind the ball. And then the USGA, in their clarifications, has given several different examples of this, and I won't go into them because they're a little bit lengthy in trying to explain them, but at least people have an understanding now that's a little bit clearer of what a player and a caddy can do when it comes to making sure that the caddy is positioned correctly as the player is about to take the stance and stroke. What they're trying to basically get away from is some of the things you used to see on tour where, the caddies would help align the player. Caddies and players can still talk about that thing. It's just the caddy can't stand behind the player to make sure that he's correctly aligned. So that's one of the things that they're trying to avoid. The other thing I'd like to talk a little bit about is the new drop rule, which is 14-3. And again, what I'd like to do is just read it to our audience so that they can hear it exactly as it's written in the rules. And as the player must let go of the ball from a location at the knee height so that the ball falls straight down without the player throwing, spinning, or rolling it, or using any other motion that might affect where the ball will come to rest, and does not touch any part of the player's body or equipment before it hits the ground. Knee height means the height of the player's knee when in a standing position. Primarily, the reason they wanted to go to this new procedure was they felt that by getting the ball a little bit lower, there's less chance of it not staying within the confines of the drop area. So it's primarily designed just to help the ball stay within the relief area now. So those are the things that I thought we'd cover tonight, the clarification and the new dropping rules.
Quick question, Frank.
Yes.
If you're dropping in a bunker, can you do the same kinds of styles of drops as we do anywhere else?
Yes.
Oh, so we can bend all the way down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason, I don't know, did you watch golf last week? There was a player that got into a catcher squat, and again, it was on some of our forums, and he dropped it. But if you watch where he actually let the ball go, even though he was in a catcher squat, his arm was about the height of where his knee would have been if he was standing, and that was perfectly acceptable. That's why the player did not get called for that. I had some questions on that. Some people contacted me and said, hey, wait a minute, he's down on a catcher stance. That's not knee height. But if you watch it closely, you see his hand and arm are above the knee, and they would be at the approximate height of where his knee would be if he was in a standing position.
Well, that's great. Yeah, because you don't want the ball to plug in the bunker.
Right. Actually, Jason, if you go to the USGA has some really good videos out right now, and they show that exact thing that you're talking about, how to drop it in the bunker and, how to drop it. There's no difference. And you can see that when it's dropped from approximately knee height in a bunker, you don't get it doesn't plug, it doesn't roll, it doesn't move. It just pretty much stays there.
That's good. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the squat drop going and all that. It's like I said, this is going to go on for a long time, right, Frank? Every week we're going to have different things.
Yeah, this is, I think, if you're watching golf right now, you're seeing even some of the rules officials not making real quick decisions. They want to make sure they're doing the right thing. They want to do the research. That's just going to take place right now. There's going to be a transition here. Players have been playing by the old rules for, their entire career. And all of a sudden this year, things are a little bit different. And it's different for all of us, players and officials. Officials we have to re-educate ourselves. We have to learn the new things, the new terminology, the new drops. There's a lot to learn. I'm looking forward to going to Denver and the end of March for a 4-day rules seminar, just to learn and get caught up and be able to educate the players when I'm out working a tournament.
Yeah, the new rules of golf, very, very interesting stuff going on here. No doubt. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, getting away from caddies lining up the players, I think that only speeds up play for sure.
Oh, it does, definitely. Especially on the major tours.
Right. Well, if there is any questions that you guys have for Frank, please leave them in the comments. If you guys are watching this on YouTube or Periscope, send us a tweet. You can use hashtag MFG show on there, and we will get right back to them for sure. Brent's watching all that on Twitter right now, and Frank's on YouTube. And it does not look like we are live on Facebook right now, unfortunately, but we will get that recording of it up for everyone to see for sure for this week's show. Okay.
Before you move on, Mike, has a question come through on Periscope.
Okay.
So, can I take a practice swing in a hazard and hit the ground?
In a water hazard, you can. In the bunker, it's the same as it always was, Brent. You can't touch the ground until it's time to make the stroke. You can take a practice swing in a bunker. You just can't dislodge sand.
Okay.
Oh, I got a question. Are bunkers now called penalty areas as well, or is it just the previous water hazards that are now called penalty areas now?
Jason, I believe it's just the hazards that are called penalty areas.
And waste bunkers too?
That I'm not sure.
Because I saw
there's just some things right now that I'm not real clear on.
The wash area in Arizona last week in Phoenix. They had red hazard stakes and paint lines around those in the wash areas, and I was like, oh wow, the waste bunker is now a hazard, or I guess I should say penalty area now. So
I saw that too, and I'm sure that the committee had a reason for it. According to the rules of golf, a committee can do something like that. So, maybe they just felt that was easier on the players, and it was a quicker way to move them through those areas.
Yeah, maybe.
Where there was no hesitation, or there was, what do I do here? What don't I do here?
Okay, we see any other comments or questions?
That's all the questions so far.
Okay, cool. All right, next up we've got MFG University, I think.
All right.
With this week's Okay, this week's tip from MFG.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about swing path. Now, swing path influences the golf ball's curvature. So, the golf ball tends to curve away from the swing path. So let's look at what a swing path that's too far to the right or inside out for a right-handed player. So let's go ahead and get in our practice station here. We get our golf club, pretend it's right behind the ball on the target line, and this is what too far to the right or inside out looks like. Now that's going to produce for me a draw, something with a curvature to the left, okay? So it's the opposite of what you think it is. Let's look at what going to the left with your swing path does to you, okay? We're going to set up again over here. Now going to the left is going to make my golf ball curve to the right. All right, see what it looks like, just like that. And that's kind of called over the top or a pull shot or pull slice, and those are no good. We want to try and get over to the other side, swing a little bit more rightward. That way our golf shots are going to go a little bit straighter. Also, with your driver especially, going to help you hit the golf ball farther with less spin and have more fun.
Every time that we host this, we're going to be putting out some of that information for you guys. Just little teasers on different stuff that we're doing. Mr. Helman, I think that you wanted to lead off maybe the discussion about Pebble Beach.
Hey, what's the leaderboard looking right now? Board up there. How's Mickelson doing? This would be his 5th win at the AT&T Pebble Beach if he pulls it out. I think he was tied for the lead when we went on air. That'd be pretty impressive. I guess like Frank said earlier, horses for courses.
Yes, there's no doubt. He is currently, according to our calculations, he has a 3-shot lead right now, and he's on 16. He's looking good right now. So, 3-shot lead, and yeah, Paul Casey's back there. Yes, he's got 3. Yes, Lefty Nation. There's no doubt. He loves putting there, doesn't he? I mean, he loves putting on those greens. Anybody out there ever been to Pebble Beach? It is one of my top 5 places in the world ever to go. It is an awesome place. I love it there. And the greens there are, you need to play them a little bit to learn how they go, because it's all on POA, and sometimes it can be kind of bumpy, but obviously Phil has figured it out, and he rolls his onion like a champion. So all good stuff. But it was cold there too, right? 50 degrees today there at Pebble Beach, I saw. Cold. Guys having winter hats on and all that stuff. We want to know what your weather is right now. If you want to put it in the comments where you are, what your weather is right now. Here in northern Michigan, it is about 17 degrees and a wind chill of close to 0. Lots of snow on the ground, lots of ice. The kids have been out of school a lot the last couple of weeks. Might miss some school coming up this next week. That's how bad the weather is, because we're pretty tough up here. We usually don't call off school unless we get tons of snow and the buses can't run. So, very cold. Not much playing outside going on. Not much exercising outside going on. So, we want to know what the weather is where you are. We know, Brent, you are in the sunshine.
No, it's actually quite overcast today. It's actually come over a bit cloudy, but it's still warm.
Hard to take.
And it's supposed to rain tomorrow. What's that all about? What's going on?
I thought it only does that in Queensland.
It is at the moment. The poor old tropics are copping it up there, so they're underwater at the moment. So.
Hey, how did your event go down there?
Ours is we're down south, so we're okay.
So how'd your event go down there? Are we moving on to that? Or
Yeah, why not? We can.
I didn't want to skip by the Victorian Open. It's pretty cool. I was actually down there last year, and it was really cool to see what you got going on.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that first up. Have you had the pleasure of playing 13th Beach when you were down in Oz? But
I did. I just walked around and I walked one day of the event, and it was quite the trek to get there. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it is, but they're both good fun courses. It was interesting because obviously Australian golf hasn't got the size of the golfers you guys have over there, so we try and do a few things a little bit differently sometimes to try and get people involved. And this tournament that we just held this week is really cool because I think it's the only one in the world where the guys and the girls play the same course at the same time. So they alternate groups. They play across 2 courses for the first 2 days, and then after the cut, they all play on the same course. So there's a group of guys, a group of girls, group of guys, group of girls that tee up each week, each round, and then cut after halfway, and then cut again after 3 rounds. They all play the same course the last 2 days. They don't have gallery ropes, so the crowd get to walk along beside the players, which is pretty cool. And they were doing player interviews as well. So it was on the Golf Channel, I think, but obviously our afternoon times are not real good for you guys over there. I think it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, which is not ideal.
Oh, I've seen it though. I've been up that late. I can't wait to watch it. No, it's good. I like it. I love that tournament. I think it's an awesome event, and I think we need to do more of that over here, don't you, Frank?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a real interesting format. I like that. Kind of reminds me of the Tournament of Champions, Mike.
It does. Tournament Champions does that too at Boyne. We at Boyne Mountain we have juniors and men and women and amateurs and professionals all playing in the same event, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I wish we did more of that. I knew, what is it, the Wendy's 3 Tour Challenge? I mean, I think that's the only one that's pretty close to that, but not quite what Brent has going on with the Victorian Open.
An interesting comment was made by Curry Webb, who's obviously a really high-ranked Australian player, and she met Jeff Ogilvy, who's again another really high-ranked Australian player, for the first time ever at a tournament. They just don't cross paths. They're all playing their own tours, and they just don't cross paths. So that was really interesting to hear.
That's amazing, right? That they're from there and they never even met all these years.
Now, just before we go any further, I'm just going to answer a comment from Jeremy who asked who would win a fight out of a kangaroo and myself. Well, based on the size of me, a kangaroo's got no chance. He was also asking for a drill to work on clearing his hips, and I think Jeremy might be able to send a swing through, so we can check out his swing on the Fix My Swing section next week. Might be a good little thing for Jeremy to do.
That would be cool, Jeremy, if you can send in your swing, my friend. Very, very cool.
Just before we go on to anything else, I just wanted to bring up the next tournament we've got on down under in Australia next week is the World Super Sixes in Perth. So this is a co-sanctioned event as well for the men between the European Tour, the Asian Tour, and the Australian Tour, and they play 54 holes of straight stroke play to start with, and then it's cut to you're gonna tell me the number, top 24, I think. Don't hold me to that, but then they play 6-hole match plays until they get down to the last 2. So it's a different format, and then if it's tied after 6-hole, they have a purpose-built shootout hole to the 18th green. They've built a tee, and it's about 100 yards long, and that's the shootout hole that they play until they get someone to win. So that's a different type of format as well.
It's very cool. I like that. It's almost like PGA Junior League, right, Frank?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like PGA Junior League.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
So it's good sometimes to have that breakup as opposed to 4 rounds of stroke play all the time.
Yeah, you're right. No doubt about that.
I think people like to see that too. They like to see players playing other formats of play. So that's kind of a unique situation.
Yep, so the whole final day is just those 6-hole games, basically. So they play 6 holes and then they come up with a winner and they go through to the next round. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Well, I mean, just look at the interest in the Ryder Cup in those formats. That's not your everyday format.
Yeah, for sure. So if you get a chance to see it on Golf Channel, I'm assuming it'll be on Golf Channel as well, so check it out. World Super Sixes.
Yes, we will check it out for sure. It'll probably be on late at night. But we can definitely see it on the replay too. So Jeremy says in Pensacola, Florida, it was 66 degrees today, huh?
Boiling.
Yeah, not very warm for Florida. That's for sure. What else does he say? He's playing golf tomorrow, and it's 45% chance away. He's hoping the 45% chance of rain stays away.
I'll tell you, what's the funniest thing you've seen on a course? Is another question there. I was at Barnbougle Dunes in Tasmania, and I did see 2. They weren't kangaroos. Sorry, what's the wallabies? 2 wallabies fighting each other with their little boxing match. I did video it and put it on Instagram, so that's the funniest thing I ever saw.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Jeremy has sent those swings through now to you, Mike, so you should have those in your inbox there, ready to go.
Beautiful.
He's on it.
He is on it. He must be just ready to go. I like that. A good drill to clear your hips. Interesting. Looking for a good drill to clear your hips. What do you think, Frank?
Well, one of the things I would suggest is get yourself some bands and maybe wrap them around a pole, get your arms extended, and just work on your lower body. I mean, those are things that where you're using actually fitness and some biomechanics to kind of help get the feel of what your lower body should be doing, how it should engage first. That's my thought on that.
My first thing is go see your athletic therapist and see if you can actually clear your hips, because maybe you're locked up like I was and I didn't even really know it.
Good point, Jay.
So here I am trying to clear my hips and I couldn't really do it physically. So now I've got all these drills. I've got, I don't know, I bet you I've got 20 drills to do daily to work on my my hip muscles and my adductor muscles. So those are the key things that you need to make sure that are functional before you can actually try and clear your hips. And clearing your hips is overtaught anyway, I think, in a lot of ways. Depending on what kind of move you have, if you over clear them, you're really losing power. So I'd just be wary of trying to clear them too much.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Yeah, you got to get there first, right? So
Get that screening done.
Yes, indeed. Let's see. What else did we have on the lineup tonight? Was one of the last things, I think, was a new feature that we're going to be doing on the show called Are You Kidding Me?
This is a good one.
Yes, it is a good one.
Especially this week.
Yes. We think that the Are You Kidding Me segment is something that, I don't know, something that kind of bothers us and about what has happened with this past week with Sergio. Anybody want to talk about that, Jay?
I mean, he's obviously had a meltdown. He had a couple of meltdowns out there, and it was Dubai, right? Dubai or Abu Dhabi? I can't remember which one. He had a little temper tantrum in the bunker and gave it a few swats, and of course I made a joke about it. It looked like he drew a little. It looked like he was trying to do his logo, a little SG in the sand there or a Zorro symbol, you know. So when he was walking out, but Not too sure what's going on with him. You do need to get rid of some frustration on the golf course, but that's not the best way to display your emotions. And he took out the green a couple of times too, I think, with the putter. I didn't see any video on that, but that's what I read up on. But the bunker one was prevalent in social media, so I saw that one. Not too sure what's going on with him, but hey.
Well, the green state got him DQ'd, so that's not a good thing, is it?
Yeah, not setting a very good example for anyone, but yeah, he did get DQ'd, right? So he lost some cash there. I don't know if that'll be a deterrent in the future, but yeah, kind of sad to see that from such a good player.
It's just I get that it's a frustrating game and you can't keep that inside. You have to get it out, but that looked pretty bad. That was just a bad sight on the game, I think. So hopefully he can channel it down a different pathway and get it out a different way.
I'm looking at Jeremy's comment. It says Sergio was out until 2 a.m. ripping it up.
Yeah.
I don't think he does that anymore. He did use. I heard some stories of him doing that in the past, but yeah, it was. He hit a good bunker shot. Just didn't hit it hard enough.
That's it.
Yeah, it's sad. Not the way that we want to represent the game of golf at all.
No.
Not good. So we're gonna be doing the "Are You Kidding Me" segment here and there. Things that happen in the world of golf that aren't very good. Sometimes we have to talk about those things. It's uncomfortable, but I think it's important. It's important to grow the game of golf and get things going and talk about that stuff. So, ending tonight, we think we have a sale in the shop for Mike Fay Golf. If you guys go to the website, 25% off purchases over $150. So you can check that out if you want to get a logo gear like this. I'm wearing here on this side right here. And coming up this week, you can check out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Brent's going to have a new article out in our feature called Backspin. We do a feature. If you guys have been reading up on our website, our blog is very, very active. It's pretty cool with these guys. And Brent is writing a new article to go along with Backspin, the history of the game. We have a few articles on there that we find little tidbits about the history of the game of golf and try and share those with you, stuff that we've learned and he is going to have a new article. Any teasers about the article, Brent, before we launch it this week?
I just think the people that are going to tune into the show next week might want to think about some strange places they've played some golf.
There you go. I like that teaser. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I know what it's about. I don't think Frank and Jay know what it's about. I know.
I don't know.
No, I'm looking forward to it, Brent.
Think about the strangest place you've ever played golf. Mm-hmm. He's exactly right. Exactly right.
And we'll chat about it next week.
Yes, we will chat all about it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This is our first attempt to go out on all 3 networks. It looks like it was successful on YouTube and on Periscope, but not so much on Facebook. We're going to probably get a copy of this and send this out on Facebook for you guys that have missed it. I am so sorry it didn't work, but that's what happens when you're doing a live. Things happen, and we're going to keep moving on and keep this show going. We did miss last week because of the Super Bowl, but we have plenty of things to talk about this week with what's going on. Coming into the season, rolling in, we are excited about golf and getting you guys out playing golf. The weather looks like at the end of next week is going to start lifting on us guys and starting to have some temperatures where we might be able to go outside, which would be very, very nice. And hopefully the roads quiet down here over the next few days as well so we can get out. So, anything else you guys want to say before we sign off?
Get them long and straight.
I think we'd have to tell that to Jeremy to keep it out of the backyard. Yeah, that's the strange place he's played golf, in the backyard of someone's home. So keep it on the golf course, mate.
Well, you guys, thanks so much for watching. Check out our Facebook page and Instagram and Twitter. Win a whole bunch of contests we got going on. Check out Tifosi Optics. We're going to have more stuff coming out from Titleist and all kinds of fun games for you guys to play. And like I said, thanks so much for tuning in to golf's most interactive online golf show. So, further ado from Northern Michigan, hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Stay warm out there wherever you are. And as of course, just like you guys said, hit it long and straight.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mike Fay Golf Show.
This has been a Mike Fay Golf production.
Follow us today on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are Mike Fay Golf, Team MFG.